Okay. So as I said that this is an introductory session, and in this introductory session, what do? Is we discuss the basics of security. And when we start with the basics of security, the first question that comes for us is what is a privilege account? Because CyberArk, we know CyberArk is a thing that is a tool that gets implemented across organizations for the security of privileged accounts. But why for the security of privileged accounts? Why is this important? What are the privileged accounts? What happens if you don't secure them? That is also something you have to know. Because if you don't know that, why is this important? What are the risk areas and all? How will you provide a solution for that? So the first question that comes here is what is a privilege account? The risks with them, how do you prevent those risks? And then we come into the CyberArk part, that how CyberArk it gives a solution for all of your risks. Okay. So first question, what is privilege accounts? Anyone here want to answer this?
It's a user have more than read or write access.
Yeah. So basically, we have two types of accounts: read accounts and write accounts. Read
Hello.
accounts, yeah,
Yeah, so privileged account is a any account that has more privilege than ordinary user, right? So, for example, if uh, someone able to install or remove any software or upgrade the operating system, uh, or modify the system or application configuration, so that has the privilege access of that particular system. They might also have the access to the files that are not normally accessible to the um, standard users. So mm, since privilege accounts, they always have the always grant access to the information or target that are valuable or critical for the
yeah, for the organization. Basically, what happens that we have two types of accounts: read and write. Read accounts, they will be the account that we use to log into different portals. For example, let's say right now we are having this meeting on Zoom. So on the Zoom we have an account. We logged in there and then we joined the meeting. Okay. Using this account, what we can do? We can join a meeting. We can schedule a meeting. That's what we can do, right? But can we change anything on the Zoom's portal? Can we change any policy or can we add something?
no.
Can we do something? No, because our account, it's a normal account. It's a read only account, and using that, we can just do these things like we can schedule or join meetings. But there will be a team that will work with the Zoom in the back end, and they will be taking care of all of these things. They'll be managing the policies, they'll be troubleshooting the Zoom things, they'll be maintaining the Zoom, adding new features. Everything will be done by them. How will they do? They also have an account, and using their account, they can do all of these things. So, how come they can do it, but we cannot? It's all in the permissions. The account they're having, that account is having the permission to write things. Okay, their account is having the permission to modify things. But our account, it's a normal account. Okay, so any account that is having higher permission, any write account is something you call as a privileged account. It's privileged because using it, you can modify things. You can do changes on a system. That's why privileged. Normal accounts, you cannot do anything. You just log in, you just go through the contents. Okay, so that is the difference. Now, why CyberArk is there only for privileged accounts, not for your normal accounts? This is because when you have an attacker, okay, let's say there is an attacker, what account he will try to access? Will he try to get the access of a normal account or the privileged one using which he can? get the access of the entire Zoom portal. He try to get the access of the privileged account, because using that only he can perform things, he can get a file, or he can corrupt things over there. Okay, using your normal account, the attacker will not be able to do anything. He just go through the contents, that's it. That is why we have Cyberark, or yeah, a lot of other tools in the market that is there for the security of accounts. Accounts are the thing through which you access any system, any file. Okay, and if they are not secured, your system, your files, they are not secured. So yeah, any questions, anyone from this? Okay. All right, the next thing that comes for us is the types of accounts. Why should you know the types of the accounts? Because for every different type of account, there is a different segment of security. So if you are implementing it, if you are implementing a security tool, you should also know that what type of account it is so that you can secure it accordingly. If you see here, we have two types of accounts: interactive and non interactive. Interactive accounts will be the accounts that are used by the users. Users interact with them, they work with them. Non interactive accounts will be the accounts that are not used by users. Now, if the users don't use it, in that case, who is going to use them? It's the machine, the scripts, services in the backend, they will be using these accounts. Okay. We even have some examples for them. For interactive accounts, the first example that we have here, it's super user account. Does anyone know here what a super user account is?
Admin account.
Yeah, basically any account that is having the highest permission on a system is something we call as a super user account. Okay.
Admin can be a super user account, right? Admin.
Yeah, if it's the highest permission account in that
Yeah.
case, yes. Mostly, yes. Admin is a super user. Okay. So a super user account, it is the account that is the highest permissioned account in a system. Now, because it is the highest permission, that means that it becomes a privileged account. And why do we have the super user? Super user is an account that will be used by the administrative team of that machine, of that system, to manage that system, to create new accounts, to troubleshoot things. Okay, so because a team is using it, the users are using it, that's why it becomes an interactive privilege account. Okay, now what happens that for different system we have a different name for super user. Okay, if you have worked with Unix system, we call it root. Okay, the root accounts over there are the super user accounts. If you have worked with Windows, I guess most of you have worked with Windows, and there where you get this admin account concept. Okay, so the local admin accounts there, it's the super user for Windows. And database. If you have worked with database system, there will be sysadmin's account, and this is going to be the super user account, the most powerful account. Okay, so this is just an example. Whenever you have a system, it can be anything. It can be a server, it can be an application, or it can be your physical machine. But within that system, whatever account is having the highest permission, that is something you call as super user. And super user, because it's used by the users, by the administrative team, that is why it's a privileged account, privileged interactive account. Okay. We have our second example as well, Active Directory domain admin account. So Amar once said that he has worked with Active Directory as well. I guess he has the idea of this. Active Directory is basically a digital repository, you can say, a digital directory where details are getting stored. Okay, you have different domains. Sorry, you have different domain controllers that get stored in the Active Directory domain. You have different servers, their details get stored into the Active Directory domain. You have users working, you have privileged accounts. Every single thing it gets stored into this digital directory, into this Active Directory. Okay. Now, because everything is stored in this directory, there will be a team that works with this directory, that will be managing these things, that will be storing these things. Okay. This team, to manage the directory, to create the accounts over there, or to store the server details over there, what do is they create admin account on the directory. Okay, using this admin account, they log in there, they create users, they delete users if needed, they define policies, they define permissions. Okay, that's what they do. So again, what is being performed is we have a system, this Active Directory system. There a team is working and they are modifying things using admin account. So it again becomes an example for interactive privilege account. Is that clear?
Yes.
What about others?
Yes.
Okay, no questions. I guess no one is asking anyone here. No questions from anyone. Only Saroj and Amar is there for asking questions.
We are good to go.
Okay. All right. Now coming to the second type, it's non-interactive accounts. What is non-interactive account? Non-interactive accounts will be the accounts that are having permissions. Okay. They will be having the permission to modify. They'll be having the higher permission on the system, but they are not used by users. They're used in the backend by maybe your system, maybe your script, maybe your application. Okay, so no interaction with the users. The first thing that we have, the first example that we have for non interactive accounts, it's hard coded credential. Okay, what is hard coded credential? Hard coded credential is basically a thing where we define the credentials within a script. Okay, let's say you have a partial script. You just go to it and you define the credential of a system into it. That is something you call as hard coding. Okay, now why do you need this hard coded credential? Let's say this is a script and you want this to be pushed to certain servers. Okay, usually what do we do is we copy the script, we paste it to all of the servers, and then we push it manually. We execute it manually. But when you do this thing, when you define the credential to that script, the script will log into that system automatically, and it is going to execute that functionality, execute that script automatically. No manual intervention. You don't have to log in, you don't have to execute anything manually. You just define the credential, and now this is the script that is going to do the things. Okay, so again, the things are being modified. A change is getting executed because the script is getting executed. So changes are getting defined, but the users are not using it. It's the script that is doing it automatically. Okay, that's what it is, hard coded credentials. It's basically a process of defining the credential like that. Okay, defining it within a script or a config file. Okay, the next example we have here, it's services. So basically what happens is that when you are using a system, let's say I'm using this machine, this laptop of mine, within this I'll get a lot of services. Okay, what these services are doing is for my machine's backend tasks, or for the applications or softwares that I have. For them, the services, they are performing the backend task. Okay. For example, let's say I have this Bluetooth working on my device. Okay. So for this Bluetooth to work, this service is running and this is going to support that. If this stops, in that case, the Bluetooth as well will not work. Okay. For my antivirus, this is the service. Like, I installed the antivirus, it created its service in the backend, and this is what it is doing. Like, for it to work for all of its backend tasks, this works here. Okay, this gets created automatically. Now, what happens that sometimes these services, to perform their functionality, they also have to log into a different system and they have to do the task over there. Okay, in that case, what do? Is we just select that. We go to the properties here, go to this logon option, and we define the account details. Like, when it is going to a different system, it will need the credentials of that system. We define everything here, the address, password, everything. We save it. This service automatically from now, it will initiate a login to that system and it will perform its functionality over there as well. Okay. Again, without any manual intervention, we are just defining the credentials one. After that, it is the service that is automatically initiating login and performing things. So no manual intervention, but still tasks are being performed, modifications are being done. Okay, so that is the example of non-interactive privileged accounts. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically they are non-human account, right?
yeah,
Uh,
non-human
that
accounts.
interact with the operating system directly and run the services automatically without any human intervention.
Correct.
And also,
Non-human.
I think also they do not require any login credential, right? As you said.
No, in like for services, yes. If they have to work on this system only, they don't need any credentials. But if they have to log in somewhere else and they have to perform the task there, if that system is password protected, in that case, yes, they need the credential.
Okay, okay, got it.
Yeah. Anything else, anyone? Okay. Now, in both of these cases, the accounts, oh, like whoever is using it, it's the privileged account. But in first case, there were users that were using it directly. In second case, we defined it within a script, within a config file, within a service, and they were doing it in the backend. They were using it in the backend. Okay. Now, as I said, that you should know about both of these types because their security processes are different. Okay, the segments are different. For interactive account, the segment that we use, it's privileged access management, where we have the components, we have the vault, we have the PVWA, CPM, PSM. They work with them, they work for the security. For non-interactive accounts, because they are used in the backend by a script, the users are not manually using it. So they have a different segment. that we call as application access management. Okay, the difference between both of them is here we will have a portal, like we have a user interface portal where the users they will log in, they will use the account, and they'll connect to the target machine. That is the process. For this one, because they cannot log into the portal and they cannot get the credentials and log in, that is why for them a new component gets added over here, and that new component is something we call as credential provider. Okay, so for them the accounts it will be stored in a vault, in a storage system. This credential provider, it will go to the vault, it will fetch the credential for the script or the service. Okay, and this credential provider, it will be providing that credential to the service or that script, whatever it is. Okay, that is the thing. The only difference we have. For this, we have privileged access management. For this, we have application access management. Here we have the basic four components. Here we have one more thing added, that is for providing credentials to these things. Any questions, anyone?
For both, we'll be using same voice.
Yeah, the same vault. Everything will be same. It's just that for a non-interactive account, this credential provided, it is added into the same architecture. Okay. Anything else? Anything else, anyone?
No, Kritika, we are good.
Okay. All right. Now moving on to the next slide. The next thing, as I said, that before we start with CyberArk, we should know the basics of it. We should know that what are the accounts, the risks that we have. Okay. So this is the question that comes for us now. The risks that are associated with your privileged accounts. Because if you don't know the risks, you won't be able to solve them as well. Okay. The first risk that we have here, it says that privileged identity, the most important accounts in enterprise, and the privileged accounts are described as the keys to the kingdom. And why is it so? Why is your account considered as the keys to the kingdom? This is because what happens here is, let's say you are having a system. Okay, let's say your directory, your active directory. Okay. Now, what is this active directory? We know it is a place where the server details, user details, privilege account details, everything is stored. Okay. Let's say we we had this directory where we had 1,000 of server details. Okay, we have 10,000 of user details. All of these things are there. Okay, and now there is a team that is working with this directory. Okay, this team, they created an admin account on the directory, and using this admin account they are managing it. Okay, let's say somehow this admin account, it's compromised. Okay, somehow your admin account that the team was doing, it's compromised. If it is compromised, then what will happen? Whatever you have on your directory, all of your 1,000 of servers, all of your 10,000 of details, account details, everything will be compromised. Everything will be attacked. So there is one thing, one account that was being used. And if this one account is getting attacked, in that case, that's what you're getting in return. Okay, that's how important your privilege accounts are. If it was a normal account, in that case, you cannot use them, you cannot access them. But if it is an admin account, in that case, you can use them, you can do whatever with them. You can decommission the servers. Okay, that is the thing. That is what can happen. Okay. Now, one question you can have here that, okay, this is true, but this is true only with Active Directory, because Active Directory is the place where we are storing a lot of things, where we are having all of the details. We should secure the directory only. Why are we investing in this Cyberark that is like, it's very expensive. It's a very expensive tool. So if it is very expensive tool, then why are we investing in that? Why do we need CyberArk? We have risks with Active Directory, so we should secure that. We should implement some security measures on that. Why a tool for the entire organization? So, a tool for the entire organization because you will have some or other detail on your servers. Let's say there is a server, you'll have something on it, you'll have some information related to your organization on it. And if you're not securing it, you're losing your detail. Okay. So any account it is, be it your Active Directory domain admin account or a server local account, whatever it is, that system will have some or other detail and their security is important. That is why the accounts are described as the most important accounts in the enterprise. We cannot lose them. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The next thing we have here is accounts are held by various teams and the control of these are not centralized. Okay. What does that mean? This is a very common issue. Usually, what happens that when we are working somewhere, there will be different servers. Different servers will have different details, and different teams will be working on that. Correct? There will be a database team that works on all of the servers' database. There will be different applications or software team that works on different servers. There will be different tools there. Okay. Then the server team itself, the infrastructure team, they will be managing the servers. So different teams working on different servers. Okay. And all of these teams to work on the servers, they'll be using different accounts. If the database team has to work there, they'll be using a different account to work with the database to log in there and to manage it. If the infrastructure team, they have to manage the server, maintain the server, they'll be using a different account to manage it. Okay. And similarly, if let's say there is a tool and teams are working on it, so they will be using their own account. So different accounts used by different teams on different servers. Correct? Let's say you have a scenario like this and there is an auditor. They want to audit things. Okay. They want to see that what things are being performed, what team is doing what account is doing what activity. What they'll have to do is they'll first have to go to the server one. Within the server one, they'll get different team details, the database team details, the application team details, the server team details. Then the server two, here as well, all of these three teams, they are working. So audit team, they have to go through all of them. Okay. And it's not about 3 to 4 servers. When you're working in real time, there can be thousands of servers. Okay. So auditing thousands of servers like this, it's something that becomes very much difficult. Okay. When you don't have a centralized thing, when you don't have a centralized repository for them, logging in manually to all of the servers, it becomes difficult. And sometimes you even miss on details like this. Okay. That is why what happens when you implement CyberArk, you get a centralized repository where you can onboard all of your accounts. Okay, whatever accounts the team are using, you can onboard all of them. Now, using these accounts, whatever they do, everything will be stored in the centralized repository. So the auditors, they just get into this centralized repository, they go through all of the details into one single place, and they'll be getting every single thing. Okay, they can get it for every single server, they can get it for every single user on whatever basis they want. They will be getting it like that. And in this way, controlling of these servers, auditing of these servers, it becomes very much easy. Okay. So that was a risk we had. But if you like, not a risk, but a problem. Okay. But if you implement CyberArk, this is how you solve it. This is how you provide a solution to it. Okay. The last thing that we have here, it's access control and accountability. Okay. A very major problem that we have in organizations, access control and accountability. For this, I'm sharing my new screen, just a minute. Okay, is my new screen visible here?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, so basically what happens that in an organization, let's say we have a server here. Okay, this is your server. Let's say this is a Windows server. Okay, now we have a user. Now we have a user who wants to log into this Windows server. How will he do that? How will he log in? We have a user, we have a server as well. He wants to log into this server. How will he log in?
Connect with the server with his credentials.
Yeah, he'll need a credential. So let's say we have an account here, and this is a privileged account. Okay. So we have an account here, a privileged account that's created on the server. We have provided the credential to this user. Okay. Now, what this user will do is this user will be using a connection client here. Okay. What is a connection client? Connection client is a software that allows a user to connect to a system remotely. Okay, let's say from my machine, if I want to connect to a different machine remotely, I will be using a connection client for that. Okay. Similarly, here it is a Windows server, and for Windows, the connection client that we use, it's a remote desktop connection client, RDP connection client. Okay. So he launched this. He launched the connection client here. On this connection client, he defined the details, the address of this server, the credentials using which he wants to connect. And he clicked on connect. His connection, it got established on this server. Okay. He was user one, let's say. He launched a connection client. on the connection client, he defined this privileged account details and he is connected here. Okay. Let's say he did some activities and then he logged out. Now there is an auditor's team as well. Okay. This auditor's team, they want to audit that what this user has done. They'll also log in here using the same process, initiating the connection client and defining the details. Okay, let's say they logged in here and they now want to track the things. Okay, now when they log in here, this Windows server, it will give them some local logs created. Okay, and when this auditor he goes through the local logs, he will find out that every log is saying that this privileged account has done this activity, privileged account has created this file, or privileged account has went to this location, whatever it is. But all of the activities, it will say that it is performed by the privileged account. Okay, but what user used that? No report about that. Was it user 1 or was it user 2? Nothing about it. And when you're working in real time, one privileged account, it can be accessible for an entire team. So out of that entire team, what user has used this? What user has performed this task? No accountability for it. This is how it works. Okay. And in this case, if it works like this, in that case, any user, he can get in here, he
But
can
Krita,
do
can
some,
we
yeah.
can't we check the log file? Whatever the user have done, whatever the activity has been done by the user, we can check in the logs file, na?
Yeah, we can check in the log file, but it will say that this privileged account has done the activities. Why? Because the login was made using that.
So user can establish a connection with through the privilege account, so we can find out that particular account who has given that particular account that privilege account. So from that, can't we made a connection?
No, let's say you're having your system, okay, your machine. Now you're logging in there. You have the credentials, you're logging in there. Okay, you logged in and you did something. So whatever logs gets created, it will say that this user, whatever user you are having, let's say you're having your user with your own name, Amar. So it will say that Amar has used this. Amar has done all of these things. But let's say there is a colleague of yours or a friend of yours. He got your credentials and he is also using your machine, using your credentials itself. The logs that you get there, it will again say that Amar has done this. But was it Amar who was doing or was it Amar's friend? There was a different user who was doing that. But for the logs, whenever you get it for the account that was used to log in and all.
Okay.
Okay. This is what this connection client does. This masks the ID. Okay. Masks the user identity here. What user is using it, what user has initiated it, nothing about that. Only the account that is used to log in, you'll get only that details. That privilege account is used. Privilege account has done this activity. But what user used this privilege account, nothing about this. This is a problem that we have here. Is that clear now?
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions, anyone else?
No, Pratik.
Okay. So that is a problem. Users, they know this. If an account is there and if it is used by the entire team, so anyone of that entire team can use it and he can perform some unauthorized tasks. He can delete some files, or you can copy some files from there and share it with someone else. Okay, anything that he should not do. And there is no one who is going to know about that. Okay, unless you track the IP address, like what IP address was used to perform this task, there is no other way to find it out. Okay, that is why what happens that when you implement CyberArk, I'll show this to you. Okay, when you implement CyberArk, let's say this is your CyberArk. It is a security tool and it is there for the security of privileged accounts. So once it is implemented, the first thing you are going to do is you are going to secure this account into CyberArk. Okay, how will you secure? You just go to CyberArk, you define that this is your username. Okay, the account username. This is the password of this account. This is the IP address of this account, IP address where this account is created. Um, some more parameters, but yes, something like this. This is what you have to do. You just have to create an entry. You define these details, and the account it gets onboarded. Okay. Now, what the users were doing is they were launching connection client and they were using it directly. When you have CyberArk, what these users will be asked to do is they will get their access on CyberArk. They will be asked to log in here. Okay. When they log in CyberArk, it creates an entry that this user it has logged in. Let's say after logging in, they are using this account. So this as well, it gets recorded by CyberArk. It gets tracked by CyberArk that this user it's using this account. And after this, if he is logging in here, this as well it is tracked by CyberArk. Okay. So a user logs in, uses this account, connects to this IP address, everything it's entered, it's recorded by CyberArk. Okay. And not only this, whatever this user is doing on the target machine, everything comes under this one entry, under this one log. User 1 initiated the connection, connected to this machine using this account. And in his session, this is what he has done. On this timing, he did this, and this timing, he did this. So that's how the logs will be there. Proper logs giving you the detail about every single user. Okay. This is how you make your users to be accountable. User 2 logs in. He also wants to use the same account. For him, there will be a new log generated. A new session log will be generated. User 1 logged in using this account, connected here, and whatever he did, there will be a different log for that. Okay, that's what we have here. Any questions, anyone in this? No questions? Okay. So, yeah, basically, that was the last risk, and that is how we prevent it. Okay. Moving on to the last slide of this session. In this last slide, it gives you the details about the features of a PAM solution. Okay. Let's say we know, till now, we know that what are privilege accounts, we know that what are the risks associated with them. Okay. We should also know that if you have the risks, in that case, what is this CyberArk doing to solve those risks? How is this CyberArk managing those risks? Okay. What features do you get from that? The first thing that you get from CyberArk is managing the PAM accounts. So CyberArk, it manages your accounts by rotating the passwords. What is it? Let's say we have this account, it's onboarded here. Okay, we have a question, I guess. Yeah, sure, I'll be sharing that in the end. Okay, let's say we have this account, it's onboarded into CyberArk. Okay, you onboarded it, the users they are coming in here, logging in, they're using the account and they are connecting to the target machine. This is the process. Now, if let's say if you keep the password same, XYZ, it's still the password, and for 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, you're still keeping the password same. If the password is kept same for such a long period of time, in that case, what can be done is the users they can copy the password from here, they can skip CyberArk, they can still use this RDP. Okay, RDP cannot be stopped. You can just prevent it by implementing different measures. Okay, you can prevent it by changing the password on every usage. You can prevent it by changing the password just after onboarding of your accounts. So there are measures that can be implemented for this RDP part. Okay, but for that you have to change the password. You have to keep it changing. If you don't change it, if you keep it static, there will be a risk again. Okay, and now when you have thousand of servers, there will be at least. Okay, one more question. How differentiate? Okay, so there will be at least 2000 to 3000 accounts in any organization. Okay, this is the minimum number I'm talking about. There will be at least 2000 to 3000 accounts. Okay, now changing the password of all of those 2000 to 3000 accounts on every usage, it's something that becomes very much difficult. You'll need a lot of people for that, you'll need a lot of time for that. Okay, so what CyberArk does for this is CyberArk, it has the policy that you can change the password automatically. You just have to get into the portal. You have to define that you want the password to get changed after every 7 days, every 5 days, or you want it to be changed after every usage. Whatever your case is, you just have to define it accordingly, and the password it gets changed automatically. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to change it anywhere. You just define a policy and it does it. Okay, that is the first feature that you get from CyberArk. The second feature that we get is limit the access to the PAM accounts. Now, again, coming back to this part, here we discuss that we have a repository, like we have a vault for CyberArk, and within the vault, everything gets stored. So, whatever 2000, 3000 accounts you have, everything will be stored here. One more thing we discussed that the users, whenever they use accounts, they perform activities, the logs as well. It's something that you get from CyberArk. So the logs as well, it is stored here on this vault. Okay. Now what the CyberArk does is it is having a feature that it can limit the access. It can grant role-based access. Okay. What is role-based access? Let's say out of those 2000 of accounts, this user one, he is having the access only on this privilege account. He is having the permission only to work on this. So whenever he logs in, only this privilege account will be visible for him. All the other accounts, they won't show up. Only this account. Logs won't show up. Only this account. But yeah, for the auditors, they don't really need accounts. They want to go through the logs for their auditing purpose. So when they log in, they'll get the logs. That's a feature that CyberArk provides, granting role-based access. User will get the permission, and whenever they log in, they get only that account detail or only that detail that they are authorized to access. Okay. For example, if you have consumer and end user, they need the access on privilege account, a certain privilege accounts. So they'll get that. Administrators, they are CyberArk administrators and they have to work with a lot of things. So they get access to almost everything, to accounts, policies, configuration files. Okay. Auditors, they don't have to work with the policies and all. They have to go through the logs. So that what they get, and the recordings as well. So one thing that this CyberArk does is it records your sessions. Okay, user logged in, he is connected to the target machine. CyberArk, it starts a screen recording. This screen recording again, it will be saved in the vault, and whenever an auditor logs in, he'll get the recordings as well. Okay, the same point is here, audit trails. That's what CyberArk generates, audit logs and session recordings. So whatever the users are doing, everything will be under control, everything will be in track. Okay, MFA, multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication, it's very common these days. Mostly when we try to log into our banking portals, we go there, we define our credentials, and then they ask us to define an OTP or something, one-time password. Okay, this one-time password is MFA, another layer of authentication, multi-factor authentication. Okay. Similarly, on the CyberArk, here is the login page. The user, when he comes to the login page, he will be defining his credential. User 1 defines his credential, auditor defines his credential. And after defining this, you can integrate any MFA tool with CyberArk. Okay. After integrating the tool, this user he will be asked to enter an code or an OTP. And whenever he defines that, only then his login will be allowed and he'll be allowed to get in here. Okay. Next thing we get is session management. Again, the same thing, session monitoring, that is creating logs and recordings. Session isolation, that is isolating two different sessions or of two different users. Okay. The last feature that we have here is just in time or temporary access. This is a feature that allows the user even to have temporary access on CyberArk. Okay. In a lot of places, we get a case where there will be a team that is working on a contract basis or something, and they need temporary access to the accounts, they need temporary access to the servers. So what you can do there is you can grant their access, and while granting their access, you can even select a date that you want his access only till this date. Till that date, the team, that user, they will be able to use that account, they'll be able to get into CyberArk. But after that date, automatically their access will be deleted and they won't be able to access anything. Okay. Usually this is a thing that is done manually, but in CyberArk, it's something that you get to do automatically. Okay. Any questions, anyone? No questions? Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
Ritika, account onboarding is the same thing that you have already explained in the previous slide. How to onboard the account.
Yeah. Basically
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay. So apart from that, all of the module will be the part of the course, right? So you will not explain those things in this
Yeah,
session.
I'm covering the course curriculum here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So starting with the course curriculum that we are going to cover. Basically, this course, it's divided into different modules, and the first module, it starts with the introduction, and it is basically the session that we had today. Okay, we discussed about the pain areas, the risks that we had with our accounts, and some of the expected solution, like just an overview thing that what are the backend things, what are the accounts, the risks with them, and how can we prevent them. Okay, now that you know the risks, like some of the risks, now we can move on to the second module, that is the overview of Cyberark. Okay, CyberArk, it's a new thing for you. So, what is CyberArk? The different components of it, the functionality of it, how a user will interact, how the sessions get recorded, how the sessions get stored, how the connection get connected to the target machine, everything with the workflow, with the diagram. The complete architecture of CyberArk is something we discuss in the module 2. Okay. Module 3, let's say we know the basics, we know what are the different components, the functionality, not in detail, but yeah, the basic thing. Then we will be moving on to the module 3, where we discuss the things in detail. Okay, the detailed theory about each and every component, their prerequisites, um, whatever they need, wherever you need to install them, everything, how they function, the connection part, the ports. We are going to cover that in this module 3. Okay, all of your components. Once the theory of all of the components are done, then we move on to this module 4, and module 4 is for the installation part. For the installation part, there will be virtual servers that you'll get. Okay, and on the virtual servers, the setup files, it will already be copied. You just have to take them, you have to install it. I will be guiding you, will be doing it in the live sessions. Okay, so we'll be starting with the installation. We'll first perform the prerequisites, the network, software, hardware, we check with everything. Then we check with the port, and then we move on to the installation of every single component one by one. Okay, now let's say once your installation is done, you have everything, you have the entire architecture, then we work with the integration part. CyberArk, it also has to be integrated with some of the tools. The first integration that we do is Active Directory integration. The second one that we do is email notification engine configuration. Okay. The sixth module, it is for the policies of CyberArk. Within CyberArk, we have a lot of policies, and the policies are considered to be a very important part of CyberArk. So the different policies, how do we work with them? In what case do we apply them? If we do we implement them? How do we create exceptions on them? Everything is related to that. Module 7, mostly now from now, because every installation is done. So from now the operation task starts. Okay. Module 7, it's for the account onboarding part. So how do you onboard different types of accounts into CyberArk? That's something we do here. Okay. Module 8, it is for the safe management. So what happens that for the data segregation within CyberArk, we create safes there. So how do we create safes? How do we segregate the data? How do we allow a user to access that safe? Okay. How do we have this dual control thing? Everything that's mentioned over here, we'll be discussing in this module 8, in the safe management module. Module 9, that is for some use cases about users onboarding, like how do you allow a user to access your architecture? How do you enable single sign-on? How do you reconcile the passwords? Okay. How do you grant the access of a user? Okay. MFA. How do you integrate that dual access control, auditing, reporting? Okay. If CyberArk is generating logs, if it is generating recordings, then where do you get that? Where do you audit it? Okay. And offboarding of users as well. Let's say there is a user and he is now not working with that safe or something. How do you offboard them? The next module here is troubleshooting module. What happens that when you're working with CyberArk, along with performing installation and all of the operations, you also have to troubleshoot things. So what happens if an encrypted file, its password has expired? Okay. What happens if a connection is not working? Because you are the admin, you have to fix all of these things. So all of these things we are going to do in this troubleshooting part. We'll take some use cases, we'll make some errors in the organization, in the architecture, and then we'll be fixing it. And the last module here, it's DR module, the disaster recovery overview. In this disaster recovery overview, we will be discussing about the backup part. Disaster recovery, it's basically the backup of CyberArk. Okay. When you have a main architecture, you are storing everything there. You also should have a backup of it. So how do you store the things in the backup? How the things are replicated, how it takes over when the main architecture is down. We will be doing everything in the lab. Okay, so that's what we cover in the curriculum. Talking about the labs will be there for 40 days for you. Okay, and when we start with the course, the first 4 to 5 sessions, it is going to be theory sessions only. So on the fifth or on the sixth day, the labs will be implemented, and from that day, 40 days will be counted. Okay, course hour, the duration, if you talk about it, it's a 25-hour course. And if you are having a weekday session, in that case, there will be 1 hour each day. That is 5 hours in a week. And this takes 5 weeks to get completed. Okay. Every session that we are going to have, it is going to be recorded. You get the recording. So even after the sessions, if you want to revise the things, or let's say if you miss on some sessions, you have the recordings, you can go through that. Along with it, you even get some exercise guide, like this is for the installation guide. Okay, so whatever installation we are doing, like I will be covering all of them live in the sessions, but yeah, if you want documents, this is also something that you get here. You get everything like this. You get this step and you get the screenshot. Everything is in this format itself. So for a quick revision, this is a very good thing. This is for the exercise guide, like for the operations, whatever operations we are doing, onboarding of accounts, creating saves, managing platforms, auditing things. Everything is here. Okay, and the same way you have the steps and the screenshots. Okay, so a very good thing to revise after the course or during the course as well. One more thing that you get is you get this Defender plus entry sample questions. Within Cyberark, basically we have three level of certification: Defender, Sentry, and Guardian. Guardian is for the architects of Cyberark. For you, we have the first two levels: Defender plus Sentry. Defender is for the operations within Cyberark. Sentry is for all of your implementation tasks. So this is how you get it. Okay. Any questions, anyone?
Hi Kritika. So in this whole models which you have explained now, I don't see EPM in there. So
Yeah, EPM is a different segment that is not included here.
okay, so do you guys offer EPM as well?
Yeah, basically that's a different course. So if you want to go for that, you can go for it after this PAM one.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Kritika, are you guys also helping to get the certification for Defender or Sanitary?
Helping as in, like we provide these sample questions also while the sessions, so whatever points or whatever topics are important for the certification, will be highlighting that out. Okay. You even get some sample question from the official CyberArk website. So we'll be guiding you that from where you can get it. That's what we help you with.
And how many questions will be there in the in that PDF that you have shown us?
I guess 200 or something. I don't exactly remember, but yeah, around something. 200 or something. Okay, 181. Anything else? Anything else? Anyone?
Not from my side. Thank you.
Okay, I guess no other questions in that case. That's it for today. Thank you, everyone. You'll get the recording of this session, and For the main sessions, I guess it most probably it will start from Monday. You will be getting the links for it.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.